Is Alaska a tax lien or a tax deed state? In this video, we're going to explore all of that. Tax liens in the last frontier, Alaska. Understanding the tax lien and tax deed concepts in the state of Alaska, the biggest state out there. In this video, we're going to show you exactly how to approach the state of Alaska when it comes to liens and deeds, what you need to look out for and what you need to be careful of. By the time we're done with this video, you will know exactly how to profit big in the state of Alaska. Remember, if you have any questions specifically to Alaska or any of the other videos, just put them inside the comments down below. I'll answer them personally. And remember, thumbs up, subscribe, and you'll get all this great content. Remember, you are the one that drives us. Without you, I'm not doing these videos, so thank you very much. Alaska, the last state in the Union and the biggest state in the Union. Alaska has some phenomenal tax lien / tax deed laws. Let's just break it. It's a tax deed state. So you're going to be getting the property free and clear. There are some unique things about it. Just like everywhere else, you have to do your research. Now, let's back up. Let's recap. What happens? When a property owner becomes delinquent on their property taxes for a minimum of 5 years in the state of Alaska, they're going to have a deed sale. Now, what makes this unique? It's a sealed bid sale. And we'll get to that in a minute, but let's just talk about this. What is a tax deed certificate? This means somebody has failed to pay their property taxes for a continued amount of time, a minimum of 4 years. In the state of Alaska, it's 5 years. Okay, does the county need this money? Yeah, this is the only money they get. The money that they get from property taxes go towards schools, bridges, fire department. I mean, the list goes on and on. Counties can't print their money like the federal government, so their budget are very, very restricted based on property taxes. This is what keeps everything ticking. So when a property owner fails to pay the property taxes, nothing really happens in the state of Alaska until the 5th year. In the 5th year, they said enough's enough, and we're going to take it and sell it for the back taxes. Now remember, if the property owner decides to pay before it goes to a tax deed, they're still going to owe a penalty, but that's between the property owner and the county. What I want to get into is where you and I get into the meat and potatoes of this. So when a county is going to have a sale, and the first thing you're going to need to do is you're interested in a particular county in Alaska, is send away for their information. When is their sale? If they have a sale coming up, when do they post the list? How is the auction represented? Is it bidding down ownership of the property? Is it a penalty? Is there a redemption period? All of those things are super critical to know when you're doing a tax deed. Now, the state of Alaska is a straight tax deed. The only difference in Alaska is it's a sealed bid. So once I get that list, I've got 30 days. 30 days to decide whether I want to purchase the deed to that property, okay? Because it's a sealed bid, you can send it in. So you don't technically have to be there in person, but I want somebody looking at that property. So let's say I come up upon a sale and it's got 30 or 40 properties that are going up for sale. The first thing I want to do is start pulling comparables in that county. So in other words, I want to find out what the average price of a home is, where our property values are, et cetera, et cetera. So if I'm looking at this thing and it says it's worth $400,000 or $200,000, I don't know, what's the average price of a home in that particular jurisdiction, so I know where I'm standing at barometer-wise. High value property, low value property, what have you. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get specifically on that property. How many square feet does it have, and what's the value per square feet they're going in that neighborhood? Similar and like properties. How do I figure that out? Super simple. You guys don't make this complicated. All I have to do is find 3 properties in that area where that property, not the county, in that area where the property is located. Similar properties, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, 2,000 square feet, whatever that might be, that have sold, not for sale. There is a big difference. That have sold in the last 60 days, no longer than 60 days, because these markets are all over the place, and I want to make sure this is current information. So then what I do is I take the sold price of 3 properties and I add it together. Then I take the square footage of those 3 properties and add it together. I divide the square footage by 3, what's my average square footage, and I divide the sale price by 3, and that gives me my average sale price. Then you take the average square footage into the average sale price, and that's how much a property is selling for in that area, average right now. That is the value of the property. You don't need to worry about, did they have a swimming pool? Is it, beautiful kitchen? Do they, store gold in the basement? Values of property are very finite. Okay, there is no ambiguity unless there's a collapsing market or an increasing market. Even then, you can pretty much tell. Okay, it's not what somebody puts into the property, it's what somebody's willing to pay. And what somebody's willing to pay for that property is indicated based on sold properties over the last 60 days. Again, I'm going to repeat. Make sure you keep that tight. I'm okay if you can go less than that, but no more than 60 days because markets are fluctuating all over the place right now. And you want to make sure you have an accurate price. So now that I have a value, you go, okay, this is what this property is probably worth. ARV, that's after rehab value. I'm going to assume it's going to need some work. So I need some boots on the ground. Either I'm going to get on a plane and go to Alaska and look at that sale, which I'm totally okay with, or I'm going to call a real estate agent. I've got a property, I need you to take a look at it. Tell me what you think of the value of this property. Now, I don't know about you, but if I go look at a property, I can pretty much tell whether it's rented out or what have you. Is there, an empty keg on the porch or whatever the case is. So the real estate agent can really go out there and give you an idea of what that property is. Is this neighborhood going up? Is it going down? Is it being gentrified? Is there, what's happening in this particular area? It's super important to find that out. Am I in an increasing or decreasing market? Real estate agent calls up and says, hey, this property, ARV, after rehab, it needs some, some lipstick and makeup, but I wasn't able to get in the property. Obviously, it's not for sale. And so the mystery is going to be what's going on in that property, okay? So I look at this, every single tax deed that I purchase anywhere in the country is going to need some rehab. This is where it gets difficult. How much rehab? I really don't know. But I'm going to tell you, in 30 years, I haven't been surprised many times, okay? So I assume that every single property that I purchase at a tax deal is going to be a minimum of work on it, okay? I'm thinking I'm going to do paint, I'm going to do, flooring, possibly a kitchen, possibly a bathroom. So I always look at this and go, how much damage is in the property and what do I need to do to fix that property? This is not the same as a foreclosure from a bank where somebody's losing the property, they're upset about the whole situation and they destroy the property. It's not the same thing. Very rarely do I ever get a tax deed where the owner of the property is actually living in the property. It's super rare that somebody loses a property to delinquent property taxes over a 5-year period of time because there's that cycle we're talking about. Most people can get back on their feet. So don't think you're taking somebody's property in the middle of the night. It's very rare if that ever happens. Now, if you do get a property and the owner happens to be living in the property, don't kick anybody while they're down. I think you and I can both agree that if somebody lost their property to a couple of years back taxes, financially speaking, they're not in a very good position. Call them up. Let them know that, hey, you're the owner of the property. What's going on? What did you know? Oh, we forgot. Whatever the case is, maybe they can make some payments to you to pay back, and you can sell them the property less than they owed on it originally. Do they win? Yeah. Does the county win? Yeah. Do you win? It's a triple win all the way around. Okay, now most of the time it's going to be a renter in the property, okay? So once I look at this property and say, hey, this property is worth, whatever, $200,000 and the opening bid on this is 20, now we need to establish our maximum bid on this. And I've got other videos on that. So let's say that my maximum bid on this property for this conversation is, I don't know, $125,000. So now I know I got $125,000. I get a guesstimated rehab of say $25,000. I can be in this property $150,000 and I'm good to go. Once you've established all of that through your research and through this process, now and only then are you ready to go to the auction. Now this is crucial. How do you get registered? Who gets registered? What do you mean? Who gets registered? I get registered. No, not necessarily. Because what you can do on that is I can register my LLC. I can actually have somebody else buy for me and they can be what we call a proxy bidder. So, and then the last thing, this is so important, how does the county want their money? Can I wire money? Can I send a cashier's check? Do I have to have the money the day of? Is there a time limit? So once the sale is final and I'm the winning bidder, it's a sealed bid situation, they say you win, how quickly do they need their money? All of these things are super important to understand. And as you can tell with all of these deed states out there, you don't want to throw your money after a bad deal. So make sure you get properly trained. And I got good news. We've got a brand new course on this, free. This is my gift for you just for watching this video. So click the link down below, higginsmethod.com, and go to that link, fill out the information, and I've got a course right now, hot off the press, ready for you. This is Saen Higgins saying God bless and good luck. We'll see you on the other side.